So I get the local Spokane paper once in a while, and one of the lead paragraphs today was, "'Tis the season for Christmas lights, gingerbread houses, eggnog, and newspaper stories that begin with 'tis this season." I thought it was a very clever opening. Um, so, it's holiday time out there, and maybe in here too, I don't know. Just last week, Venerable Tarpa mentioned that this is a hard time for people. She was saying that in response to the news we heard that an old friend, long time ago friend of the Abbey who helped build a lot, had taken his own life not very long ago. This is a hard season. And so recalling that, when I was leading the Medicine Buddha Puja the other night, I also mentioned that it's a hard time for many people this time of year. And there were many nods and some sharing, and I also got a little bit of communication after that about this topic. So I thought maybe it would be good to do a little talk about how to practice with the challenges of the season, because there is a lot of cultural pressure out there. Holidays are a time to joyously celebrate the good in life, surrounded by friends and family. Now, right off the bat, you want to ask, how real is that expectation for most people? Maybe for some people, a lot. I don't know. I really don't know. But also for a lot of people, just that expectation that's set up about what the hallmark version of the holidays is. Family, friends, we have lots of love, we give gifts, we get gifts, we eat, we love the music, whatever, can really, if we're not having that, if we're not fitting into that mold, it can be really challenging for people. So, and sometimes these situations are very real. Well, they always are very real when we're having our pain. It feels super real. And situations like people may be grieving, people may be, estranged from their families, so that feels especially acute during holiday times. People may be unemployed or have lost their jobs, and that feels more acute during holiday times when you think you're supposed to be able to give and give and give and give and give. Or your loved one is ill, and so together we can't, engage in the family stereotype for the holidays. Divorce, all kinds of situations. People are going through things all the time. And somehow those sufferings get heightened or seem to be heightened during the time when everybody else is supposedly enjoying the wonderful, wonderful holiday season. So the antidotes I want to talk about are not just antidotes for the holidays, but they're antidotes for all the times that we start to feel alone, depressed, separated from the things we love, and so forth and so forth. The King of Concentration Sutra has been quoted many times in the last few weeks because it's in that section on refuge in the Lamrim Chenmo. But once again, it says, I instruct you, and you should understand people's minds become absorbed in something to the degree that they reflect on it. So as soon as we start looking at, oh, it's holiday time, holiday means this, and this. I don't have this, and this. I don't even have that, and that, and that, and that either. As soon as our mind becomes absorbed in all the things that we don't have in comparison to what we think they should, this is a total recipe for our own pain and suffering. So let's turn this into some real Buddhist practice. Let's see some ways to do that. So first of all, what is a holiday anyway? I can't remember whether it was the short retreat or the 3-month retreat, but the first time I was on retreat over Christmas, and I was a real Christmas lover. Decorations, gifts, songs, Christmas caroling with crowds, many nights of Christmas caroling with crowds, lots and lots of fun. I was excited to be on retreat, but then I think I brought candy canes for everybody, and somebody else brought little Hershey's Kisses, and I cut out little stockings and colored them for every cushioned seat, handed them out for each person. was amazed to think, today is just like yesterday. What's the point? Today is no different from the day before. The day is no different than the day after. The chocolate was nice. People don't do candy canes anymore anyway. They hardly ever eat them. It was astonishing to me to realize that it was just another day. And so right there, we can start to pay attention to what is it that we're imputing in this time? What is it that we're laying on this holiday or this celebration so that one friend I know, who I think from that moment on, it must have been the 3-month retreat, from that moment on, this person has taken those holidays and made them into retreat for herself. She's retired. She still does it over holidays, makes those into a retreat. It's a very precious time. But even when the feeling comes up, this first analysis is like, okay, what am I feeling? When the discomfort arises, the sadness arises, the pain arises, we first start to just observe it. Oh, this is a painful feeling. What triggered this painful feeling? And watch how quickly our mind takes the painful feeling into some story, some narrative about what we used to have and don't have, or, whatever our story is. But to actually just stop and watch, look, I have this feeling, and the response I have to it is completely made by my mind. This in itself is a super powerful practice. And if we can spend time, as we've done when we've done the 4 establishments of mindfulness practice here, and people who've done that in the retreat from afar can recall what you've done before, as soon as we start to pause and question that, just observe the feeling and question, what is it we're telling ourselves about it? That feeling begins to dissipate. And then we can replace that feeling with all kinds of thoughts. And the antidote I most want to prescribe from my own experience and also for the sake of the holiday is that we can learn to cultivate love anytime, anywhere. And His Holiness the Dalai Lama says very clearly, when we feel love and kindness toward others, it not only makes others feel loved and cared for, but it helps us also to develop inner happiness and peace. Now, it is not easy to go from misery and feeling alone and feeling kind of separated from everybody and not having what everybody wants straight to love. Totally not that easy to do. But once we start and observe that feeling and analyze, what is it do we expect? What is it that we think we should have that we don't have? Then again, recognizing how much our expectations are conjured from past memories or conjured from the cultural trappings of the opening newspaper articles or whatever, and saying, okay, then let me take responsibility for my own situation. What do I want this holiday to be about? Let me make this a Buddhist holiday, for goodness sake. What would be a Buddhist holiday? How about I spend this holiday working on examining my mind, staying still and quiet, and offering love in every situation that I can. So one antidote I recommend for that, especially if you're really lonely, I have used this in my life. Go to the local coffee shop, order whatever you like, tea, a peppermint latte, eggnog latte, or whatever, and simply watch the people coming in and out of that coffee shop. And every single one of them, look at their face and wish them to be happy. May you be happy. May you be happy. When we start to actually look at people we completely don't know, we can see in their faces, it may be the holiday time, they may be coming in with a crowd, some people are coming in alone, but there's a kinetic energy in the crowd, or the children are crying and the mom is just trying to get a cup of coffee to get a break, or someone is in there alone just like me. Each one that comes in is a person who wants to be happy, who doesn't want to suffer. And if we practice sending loving kindness from our own heart, it completely opens up our mind. Completely. Venerable Children does this in airports. This is her airport travel practice of developing loving kindness. We can do it anywhere, anytime. And that feeling of aloneness, in my experience, melts. Sometimes it may take time. And sometimes it starts by rote. You have to just, not because you go in and feel loving, but you're going in and saying, I am going to do a practice to use my experience to develop loving kindness for living beings. And then we offer it. Whether it's light from your heart, whether you simply do it with words, may you be happy, may you be free from all suffering, may everything that's uncomfortable in your life be eliminated. May you meet the Dharma, and may I be able to cultivate a love strong enough to be able to lead you from suffering. Over and over and over as our holiday practice. Now, if that's not bringing tidings of good cheer to other living beings, I don't know what is. And we become the agent. We take charge of our own holiday experience. I think it's quite beautiful to do that. And if you can't go out, do it from your room. Imagine all these people in the wherever you are. So this is one antidote. Another way of looking at this too, especially if you're grieving the loss of someone who isn't present, I found this particularly effective shortly after my mother passed away, because from the Buddhist perspective, first of all, everyone has been our parent, right? So in that time of particular tenderness, I was super aware. This fly on the table, are you my mother? This baby in the grocery store, are you my mother? The turkeys out here, are you my mother? And if that question arises with regard to all these beings, and it's possible, according to the teachings, they all have been, then that too changes our perspective towards being able to offer a love, a genuine care and wish for the happiness of that being that takes me out of myself, out of my own loss, and gives me a chance to benefit others. A third antidote, I think, is to make it a Buddhist Christmas, if you're into Christmas. Like, make huge offerings on your altar. Go ahead and do the thing. It's too bad I didn't think to go out and get branches and stuff. But, turn that into an offering to the Buddhas. Let's do it. You want to sing Christmas carols? Sing Christmas carols. Make it as an offering to the Buddha. You want to listen to Christmas music, not from the nostalgic point of view, but that holiday, that particular view, in my experience of it, is really about a hope. That basis of this is about a hope for people to be free of suffering. Now we can translate that easily into Buddhist terms. And as Dharma's practitioners, we can offer that holiday, whatever we make for ourselves, for all those people who are not in a position to be able to celebrate holidays this year. And there are many, many, many that are vividly in our face in the world. So those are just a few. But it's about changing this perspective from what I don't have, which is completely normal. I'm not in any way denigrating that response. It is clear that the culture has one expectation. Most of us, or many of us, are completely indoctrinated to have that expectation. And what I'm saying is, what the Buddha Dharma offers us is an alternative for how to think about and be with this. So finally, I want to recommend that you give yourself a present for the holidays and get a copy of Jeffrey Hopkins' Cultivating Compassion. It has now been reissued with a new name, A Truthful Heart. But what it really is about is cultivating compassion. And it is a workbook for how to develop the compassionate mind leading towards bodhicitta. It's brilliant. There are many good books on this. There are many good books on developing loving kindness. Venerable Sangye Kadra's book on developing kindness is also great. But right today, I'm really promoting Jeffrey Hopkins. His Holiness says, Buddhist literature is replete with works extolling the virtue of compassion and the ways and means to awaken and enhance it within ourselves. However, there are also many stories that show that no matter how much you have read or thought about it, it is the spark of experience that brings compassion to life. Perhaps this is because you can read and think in isolation, but life's experience takes place in the company of others. So, what this offers, what this holiday offers, and what the difficulty we may have with this holiday offers is a chance to get in touch with the tenderness of our own feelings and use that to cultivate this loving kindness, to love it, to cultivate compassion, to open our hearts to other living beings. His Holiness ends this foreword with, I believe that compassion, a sense of kindness and warm-heartedness towards others, is the basic source of all happiness. Therefore, I have no doubt that every individual who attempts to cultivate it contributes to creating a happier and more peaceful world. So for our own holiday activities, to do the exercises to create kindness and warm-heartedness towards others is a basis for our own happiness, and it contributes to creating a happier and more peaceful world. And who in the world today does not want a happier and more peaceful world? So we can use this in a way that, takes our suffering onto the path, helps us actually redefine the holidays in our own terms, make it a joyous Buddhist festival in creating good qualities for ourselves, and it ultimately totally benefits others. So, happy holidays.